Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranams.
Welcome to Shri Radha Vinobihari Mandir in Shri Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Patik Pavan Shinityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandana Gaur Hari ki jai, Shri Radha Vinobihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ramana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Shri Gundicha Mandir Marjanam ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So, as we do every day, we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 in this book, Shri Gauri Giti Gucca. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. Vandeham.
Kishori, it's fine.
Now it is. There we go. Still doing the same.
Kishori, it's fine.
Hare Krishna. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaisnava Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagano Raghunathandikam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadhutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sabhagam Lalita Shri Vishabhamritamshra Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnanam Janashalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayani Namine Shri Krishna Leela Katale Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunashcha Yuktam Varamarinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Vanshirashan Namami Trinandinam Bhakta Shiromanincha Shri Krishna Padam Jagadaika Vriddhi Chaitanya Leela Amrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tvam Sakatam Prapadye Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshakarine Namaham Vishnupadaya Gaurapreshthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragya Keshava Yukti Namine Pativartya Charitraya Swashritanam Chamanine Jiva Dukhe Sadarthaya Shri Rama Premadayine
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Gaikaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurojjvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinakarine Rupanuga Virudhavo Siddhanta Dhantaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagyamurtaye Vikralambhara Sambodhe Padam Pujayate Namaha Namo Bhaktivedanta Satchidanandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanurambharayate Gaurabhirbhava Bhumisvam Nirjeshta Sajanapriya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannathayate Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahamadhyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratmishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayakam Surato Pango Mama Mandam Mate Gati Vatsarvasvam Padam Dojo Radha Madana Mohano Vidyat Vrindaranya Kalpadrumana Srimad Ratnagara Singhasanasu Shri Shri Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishthanidhi Senyamano Smarami Shri Mandra Sarasarambhi Mam Shivattattatastitaha Karshante Nusmanargopi Gopinath Shri Esrunaha Vrindaye Tulasi Devyai Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupasvarupakam Bhaktavakaram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shabdikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Cheto Darpanamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvamanam Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadhu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratibhadam Purnamrita Shwadanam Sarvatma Samaram Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Kevalam Halo Nastyeva Nastyeva Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना, पेज 360. Starting with Gurudev, Gurudeva, Kripa, Krpa, Karke, Karke.
गुरुदेव कृपा करके मुझको अपना लेना, गुरुदेव कृपा गुरुदेव
Hari Hari Kabe Mor Habe Heno Dina. Page number 41 in this book.
Starts with Hari Hari.
H-A-R-I, H-A-R-I, but there's so many bhajans which start like that. So this is going to be Hari Hari with Kabe Mora, K-A-B-E-M-O-R-A.
Kabe Mor
Page 91. Dhanamor Nityananda Patimor Gorachandra Pranamor Jugala Kishor. Dhanamora Dhanamor. 91.
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Krishna
Kishori, you don't have to go to that long because you have a lot to accomplish.
कबे हवे बोलो सेदिन आए अमार
Page number?
पेज नंबर कबे हवे 88 KABEHABE कबे हवे 88 Sorry, Chitta Krishna Prabhu. Next time, tomorrow. What? What is it? Radha Krishna Bol Bol, Bolo Re Savai. I don't know what page it is. Page 170. Radha Krishna Bol Bol. Mana Sukhakari Radhe Shyam Shyama Shyam. What? What? I can't hear you. Do you want to make this one? That's page 366. Sorry. Braja Jana Mana Sukhakari. Braja Jana Jana. Page 366. Shri Radhe Braja Jana Mana Sukhakari Radhe Shyam Shyama Shyam. Shyam Shyama Shyam Radhe Before I begin, when we were chanting Hare Krishna, I was remembering listening to one recording of Srila Prabhupada. I believe it was a recording of him doing kirtan, Hare Krishna kirtan at a pandal program in India. And when he was chanting, there was something specific I noticed about it. How he was calling out the name Hare. Hare, like that. Hare Krishna, Hare. And he would really hold the Hare very long. Of course, we know who Hare is and why we call out Hare. That is calling out to the Hladini Shakti, Srimati Radhika. Hladini Shakti of Sri Krishna. But I was remembering that, so I just wanted to share that. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanathimiranthasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurannilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Nama Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Nama Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astottara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta, Narayan Goswami Maharaj. In the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam unto the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astottara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and my Dandava Pranam to all Vaishnavas, past, present, and future, including all of you who are present with us today, my Dandava Pranam. So today for us here in Sri Vrindavan Dham, according to the Vaishnava calendar, it is the anniversary of a very important Vaishnava festival, Sri Gundicha Mandir Marjanam, cleaning of the Gundicha temple. And for us, this day has extreme significance. Previously, we heard about Snana Yatra, when Lord Jagannath receives a bath, Baladev and Subhadra, and then, on the pretext of having this bath, he appears to become sick. Just like in Dwarka, Krishna could manifest the pastime of having a headache. Because he's God, he can make whatever he wants. He can make the impossible possible. How is it possible that God can have a headache? Because he can do what he wants. He can make the impossible possible. That potency is known as Aghatana, Patiyasi, Shakti. The power or potency to make the impossible possible. So if God wants a headache, he can have a headache. And somehow it pervertedly reflects in this world as a lot of pain in our own heads. But his headaches are transcendental. In the same way, when he receives bath, Snana Yatra, at that time, everyone says, oh, he's become sick, so he's resting. So he received this bath, he became sick, and then he needs to make a journey. This journey is known as Rata Yatra. Rata means chariot, and Yatra means festival. So festival of the chariots. Those chariots are to bring them to Gundicha Mandir, the temple of Gundicha. King Indradumna of Puri, his queen, her name was Gundicha, and he made this special temple for her. But this is the place where Jagannath, Subhadra, and Baladev go for 9 or 10 days to recuperate. Just down the road, but kind of like a vacation home. So, the Jagannath Puri temple, the main mandir, is considered by our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas to be like Dwarka Dham. Dwarka is full of opulence, Aishwarya, full of so much awe and reverence moved for the Lord. There he is known as Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. In Dwarka, Krishna also manifests his four-armed form Everyone in Dwarka knows he is God. They worship him, they pray to him in so many different verses. There's Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Vasudev in this case is the son of Vasudev Maharaj, or Krishna in Dwarka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. But Gundicha, this represents Vrindavan. And the festival of the chariots, Ratha Yatra, is representative, of course, of the mood of the gopis bringing Krishna to Vrindavan on the chariot of their hearts and the chariot of their minds. So what is special about today's festival, Shri Gundicha Marjanam, and how does it apply to us practically here and now in our lives? Because this is very important. So many of the activities of bhakti that we do, sometimes we just do them as ritual. And we don't try to understand how to apply it practically. How does it apply to me here and now, practically? How can I benefit by this observance, by this ritual? Am I just doing it as an empty thing? Srila Gurudev, he told that we should not do anything, just do anything as a ritual, but we should try to understand the deeper import of everything that we do on the path of bhakti. And this was one of his great specialities, that everything that he gave us, he made extremely practical. He made it so that instead of waving a stick of incense and ringing a bell and putting our head on the floor, which is beneficial, like a child might do that and it will act. But instead of just doing that, we can have an understanding of what the purpose is, why we are doing that. Or how when we are calling Krishna, Srimati Radhika, Sachinandan Gaura Hari, to come and take some bhog, we've made something, we've prepared something. Is it just a bunch of mantras that rattle out of our mouth? I can speak about this very, very frankly because I grew up as a child in the Hare Krishna movement. And as a child, you do a lot of things because your parents tell you to and your authorities tell you to do it. But you don't necessarily realize what you're doing or why you're doing it. So you run around Tulsi because you're supposed to, but then you're fighting with your friends around when you're doing that. You're chanting japa because you're supposed to, because you're being told to. But it can be grueling at times. And then they make you all sit together in a group and sing it. And you're like, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And then you rattle off the Tulsi prayer in English and the Tulsi prayer in Bangla. Please make me your own maidservant, this very fallen lowly servant. And you never think about what you're doing. You don't even link it when you're doing it in your own language, what to speak of in another language. So this was a speciality I found with our Srila Gurudev, is that he wanted us to have a deep understanding about everything that we do on the path of bhakti, so that we can do it with mood. Because the goal of sadhana is to attain bhav bhakti, to do everything with mood, with intention, with a purpose, with an understanding. And this was a great gift, I feel, that he gave to me. Because of my upbringing, I know that Srila Prabhupada gave this, and his disciples had so much inspiration, but growing up as a child in that situation, I was lacking a lot of that mood. And when I met Gurudev, suddenly everything that I had received, I felt at that point was like clay pots. I learned hundreds and hundreds of shloks. It was like so many clay pots. And then he began to fill it with so many different flavors of wonderful prasadam, means mercy, but so many different flavors. It began to have meaning. It began to have depth. It began to become practical. So, with this Gundicha Mandir Marjanam, when we were little, it was one of the greatest, funnest festivals we ever had. Why? We got to go into the temple with buckets of water and throw water on the walls and throw water on the floors and clean everything and run and slide on the marble, and we were having so much fun. And even our local gurus were in there cleaning and doing, wow, it was such an amazing thing, and everyone was so happy. It was such a blissful event. I mean, it was one of the greatest experiences of my childhood, is cleaning the temple like that. And the water is pouring out in rivers. Some semblance of what we read about in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the cleansing of the Gundicha temple. So what is the meaning of this? So first I will tell Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Every day I tell it, but it is essential for us to have an understanding first before we speak about cleaning the Gundicha temple. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is Krishna himself, but he's endeavoring to experience the bhav, the mood of Srimati Radhika's love and affection for Krishna. Krishna is seeing, my God, how is it possible? I am the Supreme Lord of everything. I am the Supreme Controller. Everything emanates from me. I am the taster of all ananda. I am the enjoyer of all sacrifice. Everyone is worshipping me. My nature is that I am Vishai, the supreme enjoyer, and everyone else is ashray. They are meant to feed my enjoyment. This is his nature. He is Vishai Bhagavan. And all others, even his own avatars, his own manifestations, are there for his purpose. Everything. Ekala Ishvara Krishna, one supreme controller, that is Krishna, are Sabapritya. And all others are his servants. All others are for his purpose. Everything is for his purpose. And yet he noticed something. How is it possible that my devotee, by serving me, is experiencing thousands or millions of times more pleasure than I'm experiencing by receiving their service? This creates a kind of a conundrum, some kind of difficulty. How is it possible that something which has come from me, which is in the position of serving, and I'm in the position of being served, is experiencing so much more bliss, nectar, and happiness by serving me? That's not right. Wait a second. I want to experience that. I want to experience that. So Krishna, contemplating why his greatest devotee, Srimati Radhika, is experiencing so much more transcendental happiness upon serving and loving him, wanted to experience what she was experiencing so that he could also taste the nectar of loving service to Krishna. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrishavaneva Ashvadyo Yena Adbhuta Madhurima Kidrishavamadiya Sokyam Chasya Mad Anubhavata Kidrisham Veti Lobhat Tadbhavadyam Samajani Shachigarbha Sindo Harindu. Contemplating the moods of Srimati Radhika. Pranaya Mahima. How great is her love? What is the extent of her love? I don't know that. Ashvadyo Yena Adbhuta Madhurima. What is she tasting? Ashvad. Yena Adbhuta Madhurima. What is it in me? This wonderful sweetness in me that she is tasting. Sokyam Chasya Mad Anubhavata. What is that? Happiness that she is experiencing upon feeling my reciprocation, upon experiencing love and affection for me and my reciprocation. What happiness does she experience? Desiring to understand these three things, his primary purpose, Krishna's primary purpose. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita says this is his primary purpose. Not for distributing Harinam Sankirtan, but to taste the bhavs of Krishna. This is his primary purpose for manifesting. Desiring to taste this. Tad bhavadyam shamajani shachigarbha sindo harindu. Sri Krishna manifested from the womb of Mother Shachi like the moon rises from the ocean. How beautiful is the poetry of Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami. So this Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, but absorbed in the bhav, the mood of Srimati Radhika, engaged all of the devotees, all of his devotees, from Navadvip and from Puri, to clean the Gundicha temple. Previous to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Pandits of Jagannath Puri Mandir would go and they would arrange, maybe for some cleaners, to clean the temple before Jagannath, Subhadra and Baladev would arrive there. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the bhava of Sri Radha, and his devotees, especially his intimate devotees like Swarup Damodar Goswami, Sri Rai Ramananda, who is Swarup Damodar Goswami in Krishna Lila, Lalita Devi, who is Rai Ramananda, Vishaka Sakhi, all of his transcendental associates, especially those who are in the moods of gopis of Vrindavan. What is their mood? They cannot tolerate separation from Krishna when he has gone to Dwarka, when he has gone to Mathura. They gave up everything else. They gave up eating, they gave up drinking, they gave up cooking. It is said that cobwebs had completely covered everything. Then how is it possible that they were able to survive? The question was asked. In deep separation, why? Everything that they did for Krishna, exclusively. But they feel in their heart as if Krishna has gone, he has left. And in deep separation, they have no need to do any of these other things. So how is it that they maintain their lives? By the influence of Yoga Maya. Why? Because Krishna promised, I will return in 2 days or 4. So they felt in their heart, if we do give up our life and then Krishna does return, then what will happen? He will be cast into intense separation and feel so much pain in his heart. We cannot allow him to feel that. So let us suffer this unbearable pain of separation. Let me suffer, let me go to hell. Let me sign a contract to go to hell for all eternity, as long as my beloved Krishna is satisfied and happy. This mood Narada Muni saw when the gopis gave their foot dust for the head of Krishna. Aren't you afraid to go to hell, he asked. They said, what is hell? Hell is when Krishna is not happy. We would gladly go to hell for all eternity as long as Krishna is satisfied, as long as he is happy. And Narada Muni saw the greatness of their love and affection. He realized why Krishna had sent him there to Vrindavan. And Uddhav also, seeing the greatness of their love, he could not comprehend the end of it. And as high as he could see, it increased infinitely more. Yavad ashray vritti. Srila Gurudev said, when you think you've seen the ceiling, then from there it continues infinitely more forever. Yavad ashray vritti. There is no end. Ever increasing transcendental love in dedication to one's eternal beloved. This is the nature of prema. That even though there might be every reason for it to break, not only does it not break, but it increases more and more forever. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu encapsulated this bhav in his verses of Sri Shikshashtakam. Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravrishayatam shunyayitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename. In separation from Govinda, this entire universe is feeling completely vacant. Shunyayitam jagat sarvam. Chakshusha pravrishayatam yugaitam nimeshena. And one moment feels like millions of yugas in separation. One moment of separation feels like millions of yugas. How is he crying out in the bhava of Sri Radha? All of these prayers were manifesting periodically in different association of different devotees. Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj explained that they collected them together. It's not that he sat down and wrote them in a steady flow, that he collected them like this. But at different times he spoke these verses. And then after, his devotees collected them together. And Ashishyava paradatam pinashtumam, you can do whatever you like with me. You can break my heart, you can leave me, you can embrace another in front of me. You can do whatever you like with me. You are independent to do whatever you like, but it will not change the nature of my love for you. There is no condition. You are always my prananath. Prananath means the dear most beloved, the Lord of my life, of everything. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged all of the devotees from everywhere, by the hundreds and thousands. I was telling you that previously in Puri, the Pandits would arrange, the temple priests would arrange for someone to go and clean the temple because it was sitting vacant for the whole year. It's only used for those 9 days. Jagannath, Subhadra, Baladev go to Gundicha. They stay there for 9 days. Then there's a return Rath Yatra. There's one going there and one coming back. So previously, the priest would arrange for it to be cleaned in some way. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he inaugurated this mood. He brought out this mood, the understanding of what is the deep meaning of Gundicha Mandir Marjanam. So calling all of the devotees, they all came dressed in the best clothing. Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaja explained that for any normal task, when you have to clean something that's very dirty, you will put on your worst clothes. You might put on a gamsha, something, and then you have to get down to work and you're cleaning. But because the cleaning seva of the temple of the Lord is not any ordinary thing, all of the Vaishnavas came dressed in fresh, clean, and new cloth. It's not an ordinary thing to clean the temple of the Lord. We see how Maharaj Ambarish was glorified. Savai Manak Krishna Padarvindayo. He engaged all of his senses in the service of the Lord. His hands also in cleaning the temple and in touching the bodies of the pure devotees. But in cleaning is not a dirty job if you are doing it for Krishna. Srila Gurudev always used to give the most glorification to those devotees who were doing the most menial cleaning seva as service to all of the Vaishnavas. He said if Chiranjeev Prabhu was not doing that seva, cleaning the toilets, he said everyone would be disturbed. All of the Vaishnavas, we would not be able to take prasadam comfortably. We would not be able to sit for Harikatha comfortably. We would not be able to do kirtan comfortably. We would not be able to do anything if he was not doing that seva. So he would say, my most mercy is going to him. Prabhupada disciple, senior Vaishnava, doing the most menial seva. Gurudeva would give his most blessings there. So it is not an ordinary thing to serve Vaishnavas and to serve Krishna. This is a adhikar which is given to us by mercy. It's not my right, but it is a privilege. Like when you get your driving license, they say, it's not a right, it's a privilege. In the same way, it's not a right to be able to serve. I cannot just... one time Srila Gurudev said, when I was a new boy in the mutt, it was time for prasadam. I jumped up, I grabbed the prasadam bucket and started to serve, and all of the seniors there said, hey, no, you are not qualified. You're a new boy, sit down. What? They said the nature of mercy, prasad, mercy, is that it descends from the Supreme Lord, from Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, through Guru Parampara, through the senior Vaishnavas to the juniors. But you're trying to take this other role. You're giving the prasad. We witnessed when it was prasad time, we would all sit in lines. And Gurudev himself, the Vaishnavas, this was early on, 96, 97, early on in our joining the mutt. 96, 97, 98. Srila Gurudev himself would walk up and down the aisles. And he would say, would you like anything else? Do you need anything more? And then he would call for more rice, more dal, like that. More chapatis here. And then he would ask, is there too much chili? Is there enough salt? He said, if there's too much chili, I will beat the cook, like this. So Srila Gurudev, he would arrange for that to come to us. But we would never yell out, hey, more rice, like this. We were told that we should wait patiently for that mercy to descend. Mercy descends like that. Not that we become the doer, but we pray and we receive that mercy. So seva adhikar. Seva adhikar. We pray like this. Seva adhikar diye. Please give me the qualification for seva. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called all of the Vaishnavas together in Jagannath Puri from Bengal and from everywhere. There's said that hundreds of thousands came. And he personally garlanded each of them and put chandan on them, giving so much honor, so much respect. He personally did. Because even the Supreme Lord, how much does the Supreme Lord appreciate the service of the Vaishnavas? What to speak, he's in the mood of a devotee. He's in the mood of Srimati Radhika. What is her mood? If anyone wants to serve Krishna, let me push them forward. If anyone can serve better than me, I will gladly push them forward. Mother Yashoda puts Krishna down to save the boiling milk, because the milk is also conscious in Aprakat Vrindavan Dham. Shriya Kantaha Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpatarabo Dhruva Bhumish Chintamani Ganamayi Toimamritam. Everything is conscious. Everything is self-luminous. Every particle of dust is conscious and capable of granting any desire. Chintamani. Every tree, every cow, everything is conscious. That milk is feeling, if I cannot serve, then my life is useless, let me jump into the fire. Karuna na hoile, without your mercy. Kandiya kandiya prana rara. Reason to maintain my life. So Mother Yashoda puts Krishna down to save that sevak. The sevak becomes more important at that time. And this is also pleasing to Krishna. Not pleasing, beneficial. Initially he was not pleased. But ultimately, benefit supersedes immediate pleasure. So Mother Yashoda ran to save the milk for its benefit and for Krishna's benefit. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also in the mood of Srimati Radhika, engaging all devotees in the service of Krishna and giving so much honor and respect. You are coming to serve Krishna. Let me greet you with mala and chandan. Putting sandalwood paste and garlands on all of the Vaishnavas. At that time, then he requested all of them, you should all come and you should sweep. And everyone, no prajalpa should be there. Everyone should be chanting the holy names of the Lord. Everyone should be chanting the holy names. So first, the temple room was swept, Gundicha temple. Why? Why did Mahaprabhu bring all the devotees there to sweep and to clean? Because Gundicha represents Vrindavan. Even though it's technically in Jagannath Puri, physically, still the mood, the bhav of that is Vrindavan. Because the mood of the Ratha Yatra festival is nothing other, as Srila Prabhupada said, nothing other than the sentiment of the gopis bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan on the chariot of their minds and hearts. This is the festival that Srila Prabhupada inaugurated all over the world. This is the main festival, the most prominent, and he knew what it meant. It's not just pulling the ropes and gaining liberation. It is a very deep, emotional mood of bringing Krishna to Vrindavan for his benefit, for his pleasure, for his happiness. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged all of these Vaishnavas to clean this temple. Why? Because that temple represents the heart. The kunja, where Radha and Krishna will meet, where Krishna will play. So it has so many anarthas, so many sharp stones, so much glass, so many sticks and branches and thorns and dirt and mud and everything. It's been sitting for so long. How long? Well, what is our heart? It's been in this material world since time without beginning. And we've been collecting so many samskars, impressions. But these impressions act like sharp stones and glass. How can we bring Krishna into that place? The heart full of so many anarthas, so many material desires, lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, desires for mukti and bhukti, desires for dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So many kinds of aparad, nam aparad, dham aparad, seva aparad, Vaisnava aparad. So many different kinds of material desires and emotions, so many distresses, so many impressions, fear that we have been collecting since time immemorial. Our heart is like a barren wasteland full of so much dangerous and toxic garbage. So before we bring Krishna to reside in this heart, first some cleaning must be there. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first engaged all the devotees in sweeping. And they were sweeping so much. So many were collecting piles of dust. First it was the big stones, the grass, and the big dirt. Srila Gurudev said 3 times. 3 times. The first time was for the big stuff, the easy stuff, the stuff that you can see. That's kind of easy. You know, oh yeah, this is bad. You know the big easy anarthas to see. So first was sweeping those things up. And then sweeping the finer dust. And the third one was sweeping the even more fine dust from the cracks and the nooks and the crannies everywhere. All of the cobwebs and the spiders and everything else that are lurking deep inside of our heart. All of those nasty things. So first, picking up the big things. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was watching all of the devotees. Oh, show me what you've collected. And he was seeing which ones were lazy. Some devotees are thinking, other devotees, they're sweeping so much. They're sweeping so much, so I don't need to try so hard. And then he would see, oh, look at... And he would say to someone who only collected a very little, oh, you've collected so much. You've done such an amazing job. You should teach everyone how to clean like you. And he was glorifying them externally, but underneath it was actually a chastisement. This is a symptom of your laziness. It's a symptom of your lethargy. It's a symptom of your lack of sincerity. That you are not actually going deep into your heart and cleaning out. And so look how little you have. And then we saw from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's collection. He had collected the most. It is said that his pile was bigger than everyone else's combined. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing how one should clean, how deep one should clean their heart. It's not just about cleaning the external temple. Yes, that's good, that's nice. But just cleaning the external temple is not necessarily cleaning one's heart. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is showing so many deep instructions in this pastime. First, cleaning out the big things, the easy things. And then, sweeping again, cleaning up the dirt, the dust. We hear about this cleaning of the dust in the first shloka Sri Shikshashtakam. Cheto darpanamarjanam mama mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam vidyavadhu jivanam anandam vidivardhanam pratipadam purnamritashvadanam sarvatmasnapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Cheto darpanamarjanam. What is he saying? Param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. May Shri Krishna Sankirtan be supremely victorious over this chitta, this heart, this consciousness, which has accumulated so much dust, not just dust, mud, and been compounded and compacted. You know what happens to a tree? When it has been sitting for millions of years and all the minerals and everything. Have you ever heard of petrified wood? Petrified means it becomes like stone. Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaja, in his lectures on Sri Shikshashtakam, he would discuss these points. And he said for some persons, they only have a little bit of dust. So easily you can take a duster, a feather duster, and clean it. And then you will be able to see yourself, your relationship with Krishna, who I am, what is the nature of my relationship, and who is my Prabhu. We can see everything easily. When that marjanam, the mirror of the mind, is cleaned, cleared. But others, they have caked on mud. Caked on mud does not come off so easily. A lot more work is required. putting a lot of water with a hose and scraping it, scrubbing it with a brush, putting soap. Gradually it will be cleaned. But still, that's not so difficult. Others, he said, their covering is like wood. So with wood, you have to do a lot of work. You may have to chisel it, you may have to burn it. So many things to get that off. And he said, others are like stone or steel. What is required? Dynamite, he said. Dynamite. Something very powerful. Taking shelter of Harinam Sankirtan in the association of pure Vaishnavas, following their instructions, and very loudly chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Always chanting the holy names of the Lord in everything that we're doing. Srila Gurudev would frequently say, whatever you're doing, if you're washing dishes, if you're cooking, if you're cleaning, if you're fixing the bed, if you're massaging your husband's feet, if you're taking care of children, whatever you do, Govinda Damodara Madhaveti, chanting the names of Krishna. Always chanting the names of Krishna. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged them in cleaning, and he himself was also cleaning. He wasn't too big for that. Although everyone was respecting him as Jagat Guru, the Guru of the whole world, still, he himself was in there cleaning. Srila Gurudev explained that nowadays, people who feel very important about themselves think, I'm too good for this menial thing. So you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, but I will sit back and I will pretend that I'm doing so many things, but actually I'm not doing anything. I'm living off the glorification, the pratishta which comes from my followers, sitting on my golden throne and washing my hands in my bathroom with golden taps and things like that, my $60,000 velvet curtains and what have you, enjoying all of this and pretending that I'm so renounced. I remember when I was young, our local guru had a massive, massive television in his apartment. And none of the other devotees had televisions, just him. And it was big. It was like one of these projector kind with like 80 inches or something. And he was watching MTV. And he explained that the purpose of watching MTV, which had all, it's all material songs, music videos, he explained that the purpose of it was to understand the mindset of the people of this world so that he could better understand how to engage his disciples and himself in preaching to them. But we all saw the result of that. So Srila Gurudev was talking about this kind of thing. Ordering everyone, you do this, you do that, you do this, do that, and then inside doing so many nonsense activities and pretending that it was favorable for bhakti. When in fact, watching scantily clad women dancing and men dancing and engaging in all kinds of illicit activities, this is not favorable for bhajan at all. Bhakti. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that to even see such a thing, even a wooden doll, it can drag away the mind of someone who is even very high. And this goes for men who are attracted to women, for women who are attracted to men, for women who are attracted to women, or for men who are attracted to men. If that is your preference, if that is your nature, then whatever it is, that thing which incites lust in the heart, that should be avoided and stay kept very far from oneself if they want to engage in bhajan. One must control these urges. Etan vegan yovishahetadhira. If they want to be able to progress on the path of bhakti. If we scratch that itching feeling in whatever way, it will only inflame it and increase our enjoying tendency in this material world. So the idea that, someone asked the question yesterday, that a sannyasi or a guru or someone in a highly placed position might look at the scripture and think, oh, this is talking about men associating with women, so I won't associate with women, but my preference is men. This is actually nonsense and nothing but deception. If their preference is men, but they're just avoiding women, and it looks from the outside like they're completely pure and transcendental. So I needed to clarify that. So coming back to the important points. So all of these things are aparads, they're anarthas. Srila Gurudev explained that even after associating for so many years with Sri Guru and taking shelter of Guru externally, if one is manifesting so many anarthas, then they have not really taken proper shelter. They have not taken proper association. And it is a sign of aparad. So this day, for all of us, is such an important day because it gives us the opportunity of researching our own hearts, looking at ourselves, taking our own pulse to see what is holding me back. Why am I not moving forward on the path of bhakti? About a month ago, maybe before that, I told my father, my late father, Mithiladish Prabhu, when he was a young devotee, he was so inspired on the path of bhakti, dedicating his life. I mean, he was one of the most brilliant. Gurudev even said about him, he knows all Siddhanta. He was quite impressive. Even years later, after not practicing any new shloks, still he was able to reference the Shastra, and he had so many really good moods and inspirations on bhakti. But he told me, the year before he passed away, something which I never knew. He said there was a period in his life where he felt so desperate that he thought, if I cannot get any reconciliation for this, I have no reason to maintain my life. And he was actually contemplating giving up his life. And it's not his nature, but he was contemplating it. Why? He was so inspired as a new devotee, a young devotee. Every day, even in the snow, in the winter, in Philadelphia, going out with his brahmachari friends. At that time, that was Padmanabha Maharaj and Vaikanas Maharaj. They were in the brahmachari ashram with him. They all joined around the same time. So they were all going out, distributing books, serving, doing Harinam, Sankirtan, Nagar Sankirtan. For 8 hours a day, he was jumping up and down with a mridanga in the streets, distributing books, doing so much seva. Then he became a businessman, and he was working and giving more than half of his money. More than half. He was keeping barely anything. I was like, he's running a multi-million-dollar business, and we're driving around in an old beat-up Volkswagen Beetle. And we have a simple, small apartment, no big savings, nothing. He was giving everything for seva. So much so that he went bankrupt. But the point I'm making is how inspired he was. And then something happened, and he was reflecting. Years have gone by, and I have not felt any inspiration on the path of bhakti. What has happened? I feel dead, like just a shell, but I'm dead inside. If I'm dead inside, then what is the use of this external facade? It's dead also. So I might as well just die, he felt. Right? Why don't I just die? So with this kind of mood, he began praying deeply, reflecting deeply. What was it? What has made this? Why am I like this so many years later? I've been dead for years inside. What happened? If I don't receive this answer, then I have no reason to stay alive. And then something came into his heart. Many years ago, a book came. What was the title of that book? Sri Guru and His Grace. It's a lecture book based on the lectures of Srila Bhaktivedanta Srila Maharaj when the ISKCON Gurus in GBC were confused and asking him, because Prabhupada said to them, if you need some help, some guidance, you can approach him and he can help to clarify. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada called him Bhakti Rakshak, the protector of the path of bhakti. Bhakti Rakshak. And said about him, at least one, I have faith at least one person has caught what I'm trying to give, who can carry on this mood. So this book came to my father. My father looked at this book. It had the name Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj on it. At that time, in the society we were within, that name was a terrible bad word. Just hearing the name, it caused everyone to go like that. And so my father reacted in the same way, ripped the book, or just threw it away. Didn't even read it. And he was thinking, what kind of person does such a thing? Where they don't even give the benefit of the doubt of reading something. Maybe there's something in that. So he asked around, does anyone have a copy? Does anyone have a copy? Within a few months, somehow he secured a copy of that book. He read it and he wept. He was weeping and weeping. What have I done? What have I done? And then he made a vow from that point that whoever he spoke with, he would also glorify Srila Maharaj and recommend that book to them. And he did so until the end of his life. And by that, he received the grace, by that repentance, by that sincerity, he received the grace of Krishna again in his life, who again manifested in the form of Harikatha and affection from a Vaisnava, in the form of Srila Gurudev Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who gave him so much affection and who gave him Harikatha and so much inspiration that near the end of his life, he was writing to so many Vaishnavas, asking about the deep moods of the Sevakunj paintings, writing to Shamarani, Didi and others, trying to go deep and trying to chant. The point I'm making is, these kinds of anarthas and aparads, they can completely devastate the life of an aspiring sadhak, a devotee. And so now is the time for us to reflect. This day gives us this opportunity. What is the big trash, the garbage that I have in here? All of these thorns and this glass and everything, all of this toxic waste that I've kept inside my heart. How can I bring Krishna to this place? Right? If Krishna was coming to your home tomorrow, Krishna himself is coming. What will we do? Maha cleanup, of course. Everything, completely, thoroughly, from top to bottom, naturally, because Krishna is coming. If Gurudev was coming to our house, we've all experienced this also. How would we be? Cleaning, top to bottom, preparing. That this place should be a suitable place. That I should honor my Gurudev. I should honor Krishna. I should honor Guru and Krishna. So we would make sure everything is spotless and clean and pure. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged all of his devotees in this beautiful festival, representing the gopis, preparing for Krishna's arrival in Vrindavan. So it really, for us, practically here and now, represents cleaning our hearts. Cleaning all of that dust and dirt and muck and all of these sharp thorns and toxins and broken garbage and everything that we've kept in this burnt out heart. So cleaning the finer and finer dust. Mahaprabhu himself was in there cleaning the cracks in every nook and cranny of that temple, Gundicha temple. Preparing, showing the devotees how deeply one must clean if we want Krishna to come and reside within our hearts. We have to make our hearts Vrindavan. Mahaprabhu told Raghunath Das Goswami that you should make your heart, your mind, Mor Mana Vrindavan. You should make it Vrindavan. And there, in your mind, in your heart, Braje Radha Krishna Manasa Seva Korive, you should always serve Radha and Krishna. But if you're bringing them here to this heart, then you have to clean it. So who is doing the cleaning? Nityananda Prabhu, Gurudev, and we're assisting. Gurudev said that Gurudev is in your heart cleaning, trying to make it a suitable place for Radha and Krishna to come and play, perform their Rasavilas, their beautiful rasa-laden pastimes. He said, what is the requirement on us? If we cannot help to clean, at least don't keep throwing garbage and thorns and glass and sharp things back in. Don't keep adding these things. Don't make it more difficult for your Gurudev. Don't make it more difficult for your Guru Saki. Don't make it so long before Radha and Krishna can manifest. At least that much. If we're not ourselves helping to clean it. Don't make it more difficult. Don't keep adding things back in. So then, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged all of these persons in cleaning. Thousands of devotees with water pots, all chanting Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. From Indradumna Sarovar, quite far away, they had a line of Vaishnavas with clay pots, all passing them. As one devotee would pass the clay pot to the next, they would say, Hare Krishna, 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 and from one to the next to the next. So it was like a transcendental conveyor belt. Everyone just passing this water. And all of these pots of water were there in this temple. Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Mahavishnu Avatar, Nityananda Prabhu, Baladev himself, all were cleaning and preparing for Krishna's arrival in this Vrindavan Dham. And as they were passing the empty pots back to get refilled, they were also saying Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Srila Gurudev explains that after cleaning and after washing so much, still there are some problems. He said, you know, tar, because Puri is at the beach, beaches have lots of natural tar, and tar is very sticky and very difficult to get up. You can't just clean it with water. It's made of a special kind of material, very greasy and sticky substance. Gurudev said these things, the other things are easier to clean. The big dirt, the big stones and grass, and the dust to sweep it, and the finer dust to sweep. This is also difficult. But then there's other things, like tar. Tar, you can't clean very easy. Gurudev said you need to use spirits, like a special kind of turpentines, to clean that up. And then you need to scrape it. And then scrub it. It's very difficult. And if it gets in cloth, it's very difficult to remove. It's almost impossible to remove. I once went to a hot springs in New Zealand, and I went with my t-shirt on and my shorts. And those clothes, they had a greasy sulfur smell that never came out, no matter how much I washed it, no matter how I washed it, what soap I used, what cleaning agents I used, nothing could take it out. I tried to keep it for quite a long time. I think I washed it like 20 times, and the smell never left. The greasy texture never left, and finally I just discarded them because I just couldn't tolerate it anymore. So these things are very, very difficult to remove. And what is that? Gurudev explained, that is aparads. It is explained that anarthas, so many anarthas, they may affect the subtle body and maybe even the gross. But aparads, especially Vaishnava aparad, it stunts the progress of the soul's progress toward perfection and can even halt that progress. So it's very, very dangerous stuff, very sticky and very difficult to remove. It is possible, by the grace of the Lord, everything is possible. The impossible becomes possible. Even the greatest offense, we've seen Lord Indra, the greatest kind of aparad he tried to commit, even to kill all of Krishna's dearmost associates in Vrindavan, and yet he was able to become absolved of that aparad. But we should not think it is so easy. It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of hard endeavor. But for us, the process is the same. What is cleaning that? Two things. We need to have deep humility. Trinarapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. That one should feel oneself lower than a straw in the street. Not to everyone, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explains, but to Hari, Guru and Vaishnava. Not just to anyone, not in front of materialists and Mayavadis and atheists and that such. But to Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas, yes. Lower than a straw in the street, I am nothing. One should be more tolerant than a tree. Srila Gurudev would always explain that trees their existence is to serve others. They give service with their shade, with their own wood, with their bark, with their leaves, with their fruits, with their flowers. And even if someone is throwing sticks and stones at a mango tree, what does the mango tree do? It gives its greatest prized treasure. It gives its sweet fruits. So this is tarorapi sahishnuna. And a tree never complains. You're cutting its branches. Maybe inside it's feeling pain, but you don't hear it screaming. And there it's still, its life is for others. If you read in Srimad Bhagavatam about the 24 different gurus, what was the moral of every single one of them? Their lives were for the service of others. And this is also what Mahaprabhu ordered to the Vaishnavas. Jive doya. Yesterday we heard about Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur. The essence of his teaching, Gurudev said, Krishnera samsara koro chari anachar jive doya Krishna nam sarva dharmasar. The essence of all dharma is to encourage all jivas and to us ourselves enter into Krishna samsara. Not Maya samsara, but into Krishna's samsara, the family of Krishna. To absorb our mind constantly in subjects of Krishna consciousness. Manmana bhav, Krishna says. Everything, full absorption. Krishnera samsara koro, chari anachar. Giving up all kinds of sinful activities. All things which are unfavorable for bhakti. All things which are detrimental for progress in bhakti. Especially kapat and kutinati. Cheating tendency, hypocrisy and kutinati. Srila Gurudev explained, ku means evil. And ti means the, and na, well you can say nati, but na means nishida achar. Those very terrible activities, those very simple activities. Kutinati means evil, simple activities. To give these things up. Those who are kapat kutinati, very difficult to receive the mercy of Mahaprabhu. So Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, he was quoting the words of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, saying, and also I read from Gurudev today, or is it Param Gurudev? Just giving up, just cleaning out is not enough. We need to stop doing those sinful activities, stop doing those evil things, and we also need to engage in the positive aspects of bhakti. So there's something called anartha nivritti. It is one of the stages of progress in bhakti. Shraddha, Nishta, Ruchi. But before that, sadhu sangha, there's tato nartha nivritti sat. So getting rid of the anarthas through the process of bhajana kriya, performing the activities which are favorable for bhakti. Just to empty it is not enough. One must fill it with something positive, I read. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was engaging all of them in cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. Getting rid of these dark things, this black, tar-like stuff which is stuck to the Atma, to the soul. And stopping our progress on the path of bhakti. So hard endeavor is necessary. And how can we get rid of that? By taking shelter of sadhus, by weeping, by crying, by repenting, by praying, by taking shelter especially of Sri Harinam Sankirtan. So I was speaking about Bhaktivedanta Thakur. Jive doya, getting rid of these bad activities, these sinful activities, not engaging in these. That is not a symptom of a high-class Vaishnava. Any transcendental Vaishnava, pure Vaishnava, it's called pure for a reason. Ammal. Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj explained there's two things that happened when the cleaning of Gundicha temple was going on. One was everything became nirmal, means without any flaw, any fault, completely pure. And the other thing, very cooling, shitala. Like the rays of the moon. When you clean it so nicely and use so much water, it cools it down. So cleaning and cleaning and cleaning, making sure that there's no dust, no stones, no glass, no thorns, no tar, no bad smells, none of these things left over. Then we can invite Radha and Krishna to come. That's why Srila Gurudev said, I want you to give me your heart and the key to your heart so that I can clean it, make it qualified and purified, so one day Radha and Krishna can come and play there. This Gundicha Mandir Marjanam, Mahaprabhu was throwing so much water and they were cleaning and cleaning again and again, so many times washing and cleaning the walls, the ceiling, everything until it became completely nirmal and shitala. Completely pure. Free from any mal. and cooling like the rays of the moon. So Jagannath, Subhadra and Baladev are brought from Dwarka Dham, Jagannath Puri, to Vrindavan Dham, Gundicha Mandir, to rest in that place, to recuperate. Now, before you're bringing someone who's sick to recuperate, you first make sure they have a very clean, very comfortable, very safe environment. Especially if they have some fever, you don't want it to be too hot. At that time in Puri, it's a hot season, so they make it very cool and pleasing. So, it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all of his associates bringing Krishna to Vrindavan. But for us, we're not even ready for that yet, to bring Krishna. For us, the cleaning of the Gundicha temple represents cleaning of our hearts from all of these things. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, especially Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. That anyone who is preaching these things, anyone who is teaching these things in the name of bhakti, they're the greatest offenders. Especially if they're doing things like, what is it? Oh, the endeavor for developing yogic siddhis. No, anyabhilashita shunyam. The definition of bhakti, jnana karma adi anavritam. It is devoid of all of these other extraneous desires which are not pure bhakti. What is pure bhakti? Anukul, what is favorable for Krishna. Krishna anushilanam, exclusively for him. So that means for his happiness, his pleasure, and especially for his benefit. And I'm going to make the point again. Whenever Srila Gurudev would speak about this verse, he would always emphasize the pastime of Mother Yashoda putting Krishna down to save the milk, because in the long term it will be more beneficial for him. So the benefit trumps the immediate pleasure. And then Gurudev said, first and foremost, you should apply this shlok wholly and totally at the lotus feet of Sri Guru for my Gurudev's benefit. Immediate pleasure, what is his benefit? This is something we must meditate on deeply. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu engaged everyone in washing, cleaning, with so much water. At one point, one Vaishnava came, I think from Navadvip. He came and he put water on the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, collected that water and was drinking that water. Mahaprabhu became very upset. Serve another. For Gurudev, yes, you can offer pranam in front of Thakurji to Gurudev. But to worship another like that and take their foot bath water and all like that, to worship another in front of Gurudev, in front of Krishna, this is considered inappropriate. So Mahaprabhu said, you are making aparad and I am making aparad by this. So Swarup Damodar Goswami took him outside and told this devotee. First, actually, Gurudev said in front of Mahaprabhu, he gave him a smack. Hey, what are you doing? Come. And then afterward, he told this devotee, what you've done is actually very good. Very good. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is non-different from Jagannath. So what you've done is right. But he's teaching a lesson to the others by this. That is why it is necessary for us to have the shelter of Vaishnava, so we can understand the mood of the Lord. Vaishnava understands the heart of the Lord because they are themselves the heart of Krishna. So to take shelter of that Vaishnava, then we will have the proper understanding. So Swarup Damodar Goswami told him, you've done very good, but he's teaching a lesson to everyone. That ordinary Vaishnavas should not give this kind of glorification to each other, should not worship each other in front of the Lord or in the temple of the Lord. This is aparad. It is considered offensive to the Lord. So then, Swarup Damodar Goswami told him, I'll petition on your behalf. So this is another case. He went to petition to Mahaprabhu on behalf of this devotee. Shunya amara duk Vaishnava Thakur amalagi Krishne avedi vena prachur. Seeing the suffering, pitiful condition, he was rejected by Mahaprabhu, cast out by Mahaprabhu and from the seva. But who petitioned on his behalf? Swarup Damodar Goswami. Please be merciful to him. He didn't know better. He's a new boy. Please give him trust. It's actually not just one day. For us, it's an opportunity to reawaken our inspiration and how to be like this in every single moment, every single day in our sojourn on the path of bhakti. that we should always reflect, we should always remember, what is my function? What is my purpose? The nature of my Atma is only to serve Krishna. If I'm not doing that, then what am I doing? How can I serve Krishna? Krishna wants to dance here, in the caves of my heart. But my heart is not a suitable place. Let me make my heart like Vrindavan. How can I do that? I have completely trashed my heart since time without beginning, with so many material desires, samskar. It's back. Sorry.
Can't miss the last kirtan.
Hare Krishna. I don't know how much stopped.
It just
Okay.
when I said.
Yeah, but I kept talking. I see, okay, it froze. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as Jagat Guru, is engaging all of his associates in cleaning mandir, Hridoy mandir, the mandir of our heart. You know this bhajan? Mama mana mandire. My mind is like a temple. But also we have Hridoy mandir. Right now we have Hridoy Dorbalya. So much weakness of heart. So many difficulties which are blocking us. So if we take shelter of Vaishnavas, if we come close to them and we pray to them.
It's back on.
It's probably on Radharaman? No.
No, but it's very glitchy. So we're finishing now. So tomorrow we'll have to do it on Radharaman.
Why don't I just put it on Radharaman now? Since we have a few minutes. 1 second. 1 second, everyone. Sorry about this. Sorry. That might work better. Okay. Hare Krishna. I'm not able to look down and look up at the same time, so forgive me for that. I'm absorbed in remembering these subjects, and I find it difficult to look down at the same time. So I was just mentioning how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he engages us, Guru engages us, but we're dependent upon Sri Guru and the Vaishnava's mercy to actually become rid of these things which are in our heart. We're actually hopefully desperate, in need of their mercy to clean these things, because on our own we don't have the strength to do it. Maya mugda jivana hi sata Krishna gyan. The conditioned soul by his own power cannot extract himself from the bindings of Maya. Right from the very beginning, the very first thing, Swarup Brahm, ignorance of my real nature, who I am, what is my real nature. The fact that I'm this bodily conception of life. It's easy to say, I'm not this body. It's easy to speak it, but really to understand and believe that, and to really know it, realize that, is a very, very different thing. So on this day, the day of cleaning the temple of Guncha, we are praying. We're praying to Sri Guru and Vaishnavas. We're praying to Mahaprabhu Nityananda Prabhu. This cleaning of that temple for us here and now is cleaning my own heart. That is the practical meaning. And I can't do it on my own. I don't have the strength. I don't have the capacity. I don't know what's inside. Thousands and millions and billions of lifetimes of aparads. What is in there that's blocking me, that's stopping me from moving forward? Oh Gurudev, oh Vaishnavas, oh Nityananda Prabhu, oh Shad Goswami, oh Gaur Parivar, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please be merciful to me. Please help me. And then we also have to give something of ourselves. Not just speaking it to them, help me, and then not allowing them to do the work they want. Gurudev said you have to give yourself and then allow Gurudev to do. If you don't allow, you block, then what can he do, Gurudev said. So there's something that we must do. There's something that we must also give. It's not just for them to do, but we must also open our heart and reveal what's going on inside. Please help me. Please help me to make my heart a suitable place so that Radha and Krishna may come, may enter, and they may be served there and pleased there. Shri Gundicha Mandir Marjanam ki jai, Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Sakshinandan Gaura Hari ki jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
I think from now on I'll just keep the iPad.
Yeah.
If you don't.
No, I can't see it at the same time.
My phone is here. I used to have one.
Right, right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Shri Sachinandan Gaura Hari ki jai, Ladu Gopal ki jai, Radha Vino Bihari Ji ki jai, Radha Ji ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Shri Gundicha Mandir Marjanam ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Govinda Ram, Dharmadhaveti, Govinda Dharmadhaveti, Govinda Dharmadhaveti, Govinda Dharmadhaveti. Bolo Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Shri Vrindavan Hari Lal ki jai, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. So thank you very much for being with us today. I apologize for the glitches. It's just the nature of the internet here. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Tomorrow for us is the day of Swarup Damodar Goswami and Rath Yatra.
Wow.
Wow. And thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to remember the beautiful instructions of our Gurudev, our Guru Varga. If I've said anything wrong, please know that that is only due to my own fault. Anything good, you should know it is from them. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat Pranam, Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.